There was a man named Elias who lived in a small town nestled between rolling hills. He wasn't particularly tall, nor did he have a loud voice. He wasn't a famous artist or a renowned scientist. In fact, he was just an ordinary man working in the quietest of places, a modest bookstore tucked away on the corner of the main street. But Elias, oh Elias, believed in himself in a way that was almost otherworldly. It wasn't that he was cocky or boastful. It was something deeper, something quieter, like a river flowing calmly beneath the surface. Elias had always known that he could do anything he set his mind to, even if the world around him said otherwise. One autumn afternoon, when the leaves had turned a brilliant orange and the air was crisp with the promise of change, Elias found himself facing a challenge. The bookstore he loved so much, the one he'd inherited from his late father, was on the verge of closing. Sales had plummeted, and the building itself seemed to groan under the weight of time. The landlord had raised the rent, and the future seemed uncertain, like an old page about to turn. People in the town had already started to write the bookstore off. "It's just not the same as it used to be, Norman," they whispered. "Maybe it's time to let it go." But Elias, standing behind the counter, dusting off old books and setting them in neat stacks, refused to believe it. He spent his nights thinking, planning, imagining. He never doubted for a second that the bookstore could be saved. He just needed to find a way. All it takes is a little creativity, he'd tell himself, pacing between the shelves. Every story has its turning point. The next morning, he set his plan into motion. He started hosting local readings and book clubs, bringing in people from all walks of life. He decorated the shop with old photos of the town, telling the stories of how books had shaped the lives of the townspeople. Slowly, one by one, people began to return, curious about the changes. They laughed at the quirky events Elias started organizing. A poetry slam with candles on every table, a book-themed scavenger hunt, and even an evening where everyone came dressed as their favorite fictional character. But there was one big event Elias had been planning for months. A grand reopening of sorts, with a community fair, book sales, live music, and food. He poured everything into it, his time, his energy, and his heart. The night before, as he stood in front of the shop, looking at the faded sign and thinking about how far he had come, doubt tried to sneak in. "What if no one shows up?" the little voice whispered. Elias smiled. "They will. They have to." The next day, as the sun dipped low and the golden light bathed the town in warmth, people began to gather. First one, then two, then a crowd. It was the beginning of something, a ripple that would grow into a wave. People of all ages, holding books in their hands, chatting and laughing, filling the air with a sense of possibility. By the end of the evening, the bookstore was alive with energy. More than that, it had become a symbol of resilience, a testament to the belief that even when things seemed lost, it was possible to breathe life back into them, if only you believed in yourself enough to try. As the last guest left and Elias stood alone, looking at the bustling shop now filled with books and memories, he felt something he hadn't realized he'd been missing. Peace. He had done it. Because Elias knew deep down that when you believe in yourself, when you trust in your ability to make a difference, even in the smallest ways, the impossible becomes possible. And sometimes all it takes to change the world around you is simply to believe that you can.